Anti-Pope Francis recently appointed a notorious proponent of homosexuality named, quote, Father Timothy Radcliffe as a consultor to the, quote, Pontifical Council for Justice and Peace. Francis also recently sent out a video message in which he admitted that his teaching was, quote, perhaps a heresy, immediately before he proceeded to teach that heresy and blatantly deny Catholic dogma.
Y me viene a la mente decir algo que puede ser una insensatez. O quizás una herejía.
Francis has also taught that it makes no difference whether one is Catholic. He has rejected converting atheists, Jews, Protestants, etc. These and many other actions leave observers of Rome in our day shocked and amazed by what is happening there and by what has happened to what they think is the Catholic Church after Vatican II. However, what multitudes fail to realize is that this reaction is a direct fulfillment of Apocalypse 17:8. As our videos explain, the Apocalypse prophesies that the end times beast will be a new version of the pagan Roman Empire. We are living through the fulfillment of that prophecy. The beast that was and is not, that is, pagan anti-Christian Europe under the Roman Empire, which was eventually replaced by Christian Europe, has returned in a new form, that is, as pagan anti-Christian Europe under the European Union. The recent same-sex, quote, marriage of the Prime Minister of Luxembourg, as well as Ireland's embrace of gay, quote, marriage, two formerly Catholic countries, are just more clear examples of Europe's pagan transformation in the final days in fulfillment of apocalyptic prophecy about the beast returning. That is, about pagan Europe under the Roman Empire, which was replaced by the reign of Christ in Christian Europe, returning in a new form, as pagan Europe under the European Union. St. John's description of the woman on the beast in Apocalypse 17 also precisely matches the description of the woman Europa in Greek mythology. That's because his prophecy is about Europe, politically and religiously, in the final days. The Whore of Babylon, that is, the Vatican II counterchurch led from Rome in the final days, is of course a critical component of the end times beast and represents its spiritual leadership. That's why we read in Apocalypse 17:3 that the whore sits on top of the beast. The whore, that is apostate Rome in the final days, has led/directed pagan Europe, the beast, into its apostasy from Christ and driven its demonic spiritual transformation. The whore, that is apostate Rome in the final days, has also of course spread its apostasy and spiritual fornication to all the nations of the earth. All the nations have drunk the wine of her fornication. The veneration of the image of the pagan Roman king who claimed to be Lord and God and brought idolatry into the empire, that is, anti-Pope John Paul II, is another crucial aspect of the prophesied end times beast that mirrors what happened in the pagan Roman Empire. That's covered in detail in our videos. However, in this video, I want to draw people's attention to the, quote, wonder the Apocalypse mentions in regard to the followers of the Whore of Babylon and the beast. We are currently witnessing that prophesied wonder or amazement in all sections of the beast. The actions of Rome after Vatican II have caused tremendous dismay among, quote, conservative followers of the Vatican II sect. The scandals, the modernism, the crackdown on tradition, the failure to discipline dissidents, the liturgical revolution, the heresies, the abandonment of traditional Catholic teaching, the unbelievable things they see coming from Francis, etc., have left them astonished, disturbed, and confused. They are shocked to see what's transpiring in Rome and what it has spread throughout Europe and to the rest of the world. For example,
the media doesn't help at all because the media is on the other side and uses the Pope's words to bash Catholic activists in America and all over the West. We have sometimes been shocked by things that we have heard.
This is the dominant reaction of so-called conservatives in the post-Vatican II period to what has happened. They simply can't explain or understand it. They are utterly confused and perplexed, and they don't know where it's all headed. They can only wonder with astonishment and amazement and think, what in the world is going on? It's as if the Catholic Church has gone pagan. Why is this happening? While I could expand on this point with many examples of how people are reacting in this way, it suffices to say that this reaction is exactly what the Apocalypse refers to when it prophesies the astonishment/wonder/disturbed amazement that comes upon the followers of the Whore of Babylon and the beast. It's exactly what's referred to in Apocalypse 17:8, quote, "And the dwellers on earth whose names have not been written in the book of life from the foundation of the world shall wonder to see the beast, because it was, and is not, and is to come." End quote. The word in the Greek in Apocalypse 17:8, translated in numerous versions as "shall wonder," is thaumasthesontai. It's from the verb thaumazo, meaning I wonder, I marvel. In Apocalypse 17:8, thaumasthesontai could also be translated as they shall be astonished / amazed. The verb thaumazo can mean to be extraordinarily impressed or disturbed by something. See BDAG page 444. Therefore, thaumazo doesn't necessarily signify amazement in a positive way. It can refer to positive or negative amazement. In fact, before the angel explained the mystery to St. John, that is, when he had only seen a vision and before he understood the facts involved, he was also wondering with shock, astonishment, and disturbed confusion when he saw allegedly Christian / Catholic Rome in the final days acting like pagan Rome. Quote, "When I saw her, I wondered great wonder. But the angel said to me, 'Why do you wonder? I will tell you the mystery of the woman and of the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns that carries her. The beast that you saw was and is not and is about to rise from the bottomless pit and go to destruction. And the dwellers on earth whose names have not been written in the book of life from the foundation of the world shall wonder to see the beast, because it was and is not and is to come." End quote. Now, to fully understand this, and to truly recognize how what we're discussing is definitely the fulfillment of the prophecy, one needs to realize that the angel is speaking here from the standpoint of a moment in time before the end times version of the beast rises. The angel takes St. John to the point in time just before it rises. That's why he says that the beast is about to rise. It is to come. That point in time, just before the end times version of the beast rises, is said to be when 5 of the kings are fallen. As our videos explain, the kings are the kings of the Vatican city-state, and the prophecy was strikingly fulfilled because the European Union, the beast, rose during the reign of the 6th king of the Vatican city-state, when 5 were fallen during the reign of John Paul II. That's actually when the beast in its full form, both politically and religiously, truly rose. It rose politically as the European Union, and spiritually with the king in Rome, John Paul II, claiming to be Lord and God, just as the pagan king in the Roman Empire did. Hence, the beast, the new version of the pagan Roman Empire, truly rose when 5 of the kings were fallen. For absolute proof that John Paul II claimed to be Lord and God, throughout his anti-papacy, starting with his opening homily, see our video, quote, St. John Paul II Exposed. Since the angel is speaking from the standpoint of just before the end times version of the beast rises, he says that the beast is not. The beast is not at that moment in time because the new pagan European empire under the European Union has not yet formed. It is about to form. At that point in time, therefore, the pagan Roman Empire beast was. It existed in the past and had been replaced by Christian Europe. That's why the angel says that the beast was and is not. But the angel continues. He says the beast that was and is not is going to come. The beast is going to come back in a new form, and when it does, the people shall wonder. They will be shocked, confused, disturbed, and astonished to see what it's doing in Rome and in Europe. Now, consider that the pagan Roman Empire beast, which dominated the European area in its time, was simply called Rome. Even to this day, in books and articles, people refer to the Roman Empire as a whole and to the things it did simply by the name Rome. Rome built roads, Rome did this, Rome did that, referring to the empire as a whole. The term Rome, therefore, truly represents both the capital of the empire and the empire as a whole. That's because the beast, the empire, was a Roman one. It was led by Rome. Hence, it's absolutely true to say that the beast that was, simply put, is pagan Rome. Understanding that, think of the prophecy this way. And the dwellers on earth whose names have not been written in the book of life from the foundation of the world shall wonder to see pagan Rome, because it was, and is not, and is to come. Do you get it? St. John's prophecy is about Rome losing the faith and becoming the seat of the beast. The entire prophecy is about what has happened in Rome after Vatican II and what we are seeing right now. That transformation of Rome, of course, had ramifications for all of Europe and the world. When one understands that the prophecy is about Rome becoming pagan or losing the faith, one can see why it makes perfect sense that the people who are following Vatican II Rome, the beast that has risen there, are wondering. They are perplexed, astonished, and shocked to see Rome, which they expect to be Catholic, acting pagan. That's the fulfillment of the prophecy. The entire post-Vatican II confusion and revolution is referred to in this verse. Moreover, the prophecy is strikingly accurate because the wonder or amazement at the beast and the whore is not only present in the quote conservative elements of the counterchurch, it's also present in the liberal sections. For example, those who support the homosexual agenda, who clamor for approval for second quote marriages, etc., are astonished to see quote Catholic Rome now speaking their language. In fact, basically the entire world, including the non-Catholic world, is amazed to see what has happened in Rome, and as a result, in the quote Catholic Church globally. Just consider how Elton John, Al Gore, Barack Obama, and others are currently praising the direction of Francis and Rome. They are amazed to find themselves in agreement with, or in support of, Rome's message. In their case, it's a happy astonishment/amazement.
Pope Francis is quite an inspiring figure, really a phenomena. I've been startled with the clarity of the moral force that he embodies.
Even Protestants are astonished to see allegedly Catholic Rome rejecting Catholic apologetics, rejecting the conversion of non-Catholics, etc. They don't realize that they are seeing the prophesied beast, not the Catholic Church. The verb thaumazo, I wonder, I marvel, is used numerous times in the Apocalypse and in chapter 17 itself. In the Apocalypse, it refers to and encompasses both forms of amazement, the disturbed confusion of the false conservatives and the happy astonishment of the liberals, who are giddy with excitement that Rome is now speaking their demonic language and lending support to their wicked agenda. The disturbed confusion and astonishment of the false conservatives carries much more significance, as the false conservatives and false traditionalists are much more concerned about spiritual and Catholic matters than the leftists. The deception that ensnares and ultimately damns them represents the true success for the beast and the whore. Since the false conservatives and false traditionalists who follow the beast and the whore are unable to see the truth of the situation with the eyes of faith, which they would if they accepted God's grace and embraced the true positions, they are at a loss to explain what's happening. They are left shocked, bewildered, disturbed, and confused to see allegedly Catholic Rome acting like pagan Rome. They wonder as they follow the beast. However, true Catholics in our day, who have the true faith and are armed with the proper information, don't wonder. We realize that Francis is not the Pope, but an anti-pope. We realize that the Vatican II sect is not the Catholic Church, but the prophesied whore of Babylon and part of the beast. We know why Rome is acting this way. God's revelation warned us that in the last days it would. Hence, it's not contrary to indefectibility, but part of the very deposit of faith, that this would happen. It's also extremely important to note that the noun thauma, which is cognate with the verb thaumazo, is used in 2 Corinthians 11:13-15 in reference to false apostles, false ministers, or false shepherds of Christ. That's more striking evidence that the root word, as it is used in inspired scripture, can convey the astonishment evoked by false Christian leaders doing wicked things or engaging in behavior that's uncharacteristic of Christian leadership. That sense applies extremely well to how thaumazo is used in the Apocalypse and in Apocalypse 17:8. The whore and the beast evoke wonder/astonishment among their followers and the uninformed, because they represent a counterchurch that purports to hold true Christian/Catholic authority, but does things that are uncharacteristic of that authority. In fact, it's very interesting that the noun thauma, which is cognate with the verb thaumazo, is only used 2 times in the entire New Testament. The noun thauma is used here in 2 Corinthians 11:14 to specifically refer to the astonishment, shock, or confusion caused by false apostles and false ministers, by people who actually represent Satan, pretending to represent Christ. In this verse, thauma conveys the astonishment or confusion engendered by people who don't possess apostolic authority, or the authority of Christ's church disguised as those who do. The noun thauma, which in 2 Corinthians 11:14 conveys the very reaction of shock and confusion caused by false apostles, is only used one other time in the New Testament. It's used in Apocalypse 17:6 to describe when St. John first saw the whore of Babylon. When he first saw her, he says that he wondered, thauma mega, great wonder. Do you see the connection? When St. John first saw the whore, He wondered thauma mega, great wonder, because the end times whore in Rome is the greatest example in history of what 2 Corinthians 11:13-15, and specifically 13-14, warns about. False apostles disguised as apostles of Christ, and the shock, astonishment, and confusion they will cause. They pretend to represent Christ and his church, but actually represent Satan and a counterfeit church. And when you think of false apostles, think of, for example, heretical anti-popes, falsely posing as having the authority of the apostle St. Peter, when they don't. Thus, you can see why St. John, when he first saw the whore, and before the angel gave him more information about her, wondered thauma mega. He was looking at an organization, an end-times counter-church led from Rome, under such heretical impostors and false apostles. He was looking at an organization clothed in the colors and externals of the true church, claiming to have apostolic authority, the authority of the true church, when it doesn't. All of this actually proves that the Catholic Church is the one true church, not a false church. The end times deception is geared toward deceiving the followers of the true church through the construction of a counter-church that overtakes the city of Rome, not the Catholic Church itself, in the final days. For more on these matters, see our videos Is the World About to End, 2nd edition, and The Antichrist Revealed, the Beast That Was and Is Not Has Returned. So, those who are following Anti-Pope Francis and the Vatican II sect need to realize, you are not following the Catholic Church. You are following the prophesied beast and the whore. Come out of her and embrace the true Catholic faith, the traditional Catholic faith, outside of which there is no salvation.